Hello, this tutorial will go through the basic procedures for constructing an entity relationship diagram in Microsoft Visio using crow's feet notation. Microsoft Visio is a diagramming application that can be used to create many types of visual representations, from flowcharts to floor plans. Today, we will use it to construct a database diagram. Although we will use the 2010 version of Visio, many of the instructions transfer to later versions. Therefore, with Visio open, let's select the Software and Database option, choose Database Model Diagram, then click on Create. The main part of our screen contains the blank drawing marked with a grid. This grid can be turned off by clicking View on the toolbar and deselecting Grid. However, the grid is there to guide you while creating the diagram, and it will not appear if the project is saved as a PDF or JPEG file. To the top left of the main window is the tables list, which is blank until an entity is added to the diagram. Below that is the shape selector, which displays the appropriate shapes for the selected diagram. And lastly, the database properties window appears at the bottom of the screen, and this allows you to edit the entities and relationships. Crow's feet notation is not a default selection, so we must first select Database from the toolbar, click on Display Options, then select crow's feet and click OK. For this example, let's demonstrate a simple relationship between invoices and orders. To begin constructing our diagram, we must select the shape and drag it onto the drawing. Not surprisingly, the default shapes for a database model diagram are entity and relationship, so we can begin by dragging over a table. It can be difficult to see this while the drawing is selected to fit to window, so select View from the toolbar, then choose Page Width in order to zoom in to the width of the drawing. More options are also available by selecting the Zoom function. The Database Properties window at the bottom of the screen is where attributes, data types, and constraints can be added. Select the table from either the Drawing or the Tables and Views window. The Definition category allows us to name our table, and by default, the conceptual name will sync to the physical name, so we can name our first table Invoices. The Columns category is where we can add our attributes and define their data types. So we might add an invoice number, as well as the date and the shipping charge. Since Visio is from Microsoft, a default physical data type for MS Access is included. You may also switch to a portable data type or add additional database drivers by selecting Database from the toolbar and clicking Database Drivers. For this example, we will stick with data types used in Microsoft Access. Invoice number can be set to a character data type with a length of 15. The date can be set to date time, and shipping charges can be set to currency. To select the required attributes in the primary key, click the radio buttons next to the attributes. The invoice number is the likely candidate for a primary key, and notice Visio will automatically add PK next to the attribute and move it to the top of the attribute in the table. We can make the date a required field and the shipping charge optional. Required fields will appear as bold. To change the order of these attributes, select them, then use the buttons to the right. If we assume that one invoice may have multiple orders, we can then add an orders table and fill in those attributes. Now we are ready to diagram the relationship. As we drag the relationship to our drawing, one end will have a plus sign. The opposite end should connect to the parent table. Therefore, we can drag and connect to the invoices table once that table becomes outlined in red. At this point, the properties of the relationship should appear in the Database Properties window. Select the desired cardinality for the child table and select whether the child must have a parent or not. This will become grayed out once connected to the child table. Now click the plus sign end of the relationship to drag to the orders table, letting go once it becomes outlined in red. A foreign key should be added to the child table if not already there, and the relationship will automatically set to either identifying or non-identifying based on the primary key of the child table. Due to a glitch in Visio, the child has parent box may become checked if the relationship is non-identifying, even though it was not selected before the tables were linked. One workaround is to change the relationship to identifying, then back to non-identifying. The box remains grayed out, but it is no longer selected. You may also change the appearance of relationships by right-clicking over them. From this point, the diagram may continue to grow with the addition of more entities and relationships. To save the file in a format for viewing outside of Visio, select the file, click on Save As, and change the Save As Type drop-down selection to the appropriate format.